Okay. Can everyone hear me, and can everyone see my screen? Then we are doing good. Okay, I am going to go through how to join the meeting, and the reason I'm going to do it is because I'm recording this, and I'm going to put it up on YouTube, and I want to make sure everybody knows how to join in the future. It might help if I could spell. Okay, so to join the room, you bookmark this link. It's join.me/tradershelpdesk. That is the URL that I have that allows you to join the room. If you bookmark it, you can, anytime I'm having a webinar, you can join it. To get the notices, you have to sign up on the website. Otherwise, you won't know when I'm having them. Now, once you go to that link and you either download the app or you do it through the browser, you click on this telephone icon and then select Join via Computer. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold. So then if you click on the person icon, you are the number one person that's listed in your box. You can actually highlight that and click your name. To see or post a question, you click on the little speech bubble and that brings up the chat window. Okay? So just click on the chat window. You can see everybody's answers. You can type in questions. Anything that you want to ask me, you just type it in and it's there. Okay? Now, today we're going to be going over what I think the market's going to do today. But just to give you a preview, I want to go over last week. Last week I just posted it on the blog, and I go through this process every Saturday or Sunday. I prefer to do it Sunday because I actually watch the market opening Sunday night. Now, this is what I do. I draw the lines off of the congestion dots. Now, I have mine saved with the lines. So the only thing that I need to update are any new congestion dots, okay? Then, since all of my entries come off of either congestion lines or dots or the ATR, I simply analyze the volume at these key areas, okay? It's not complicated. Now, I'm going to put this in slideshow mode so you can see it a little bit better. Now, last week on the DAX, we had volume divergence. And do you see this little diamond right here? So does everybody see this little diamond here? Okay. This was the chart as I saw it last week. Okay. And I said, we've had volume divergence. Do you see the volume divergence? Actually to there. Okay. We could see a retracement back to 101.50 or the ATR. If on the test there is divergent sellers, then a long would be initiated. Okay? What is diverging volume? It's very simple. With my indicator anyway, because my indicator in the volume aspect is directional. Okay? So you're making lows coming back to this ATR, correct? We should be going lower. That would match price, but we didn't. Instead, we went the opposite direction. That, my friends, is divergence. That was your entry. So right here, any of these bars if you were watching it, if you had read, you would have had an entry, okay? It goes up, comes back to the ATR. This one, I don't think is close enough, depending on your risk tolerance, whether you could have taken it. You could have also done a binary option on that. The next day, it comes up here. Look what happens. Now, this is at the equal of this, correct? But look at all of the volume they put into it, and now the volume just really kind of dries up. If you see this, you can see that sellers actually stepped in on that bar. That told you that price would do what? It would go back to the ATR, okay? It comes back to the ATR, does it on an increase in volume, okay? If it is an increase in volume right here, that does not tell you that there is diverging volume, okay? There is another type of divergence that played out there, but I'm not going to get into it in these sessions, okay? Now, you get, again, here, where are you at? You're at the ATR, correct? What is the volume doing? It's decreasing again. That is diverging volume. You get an entry to the short side. Okay? Comes back to this congestion dot. Okay? And what happens as it comes back? Again, divergence. Then it comes up to this congestion dot. In this one, you get what? Divergence. Do y'all see that? It comes down to the ATR, and then what happens? Okay? You have no divergence. There is no entry right there. Do y'all understand that? Do you see how the congestion lines really played out between the congestion lines and the ATR? It really gave us the week's overview for the market. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's go over to the ES. And let's get rid of all the drawings. On the ES, again, this triangle right here, I'll use my laser pointer. This triangle right here is where it was when I wrote the review. Do y'all understand that? All right. I expect a test of the 2025 area, but again, I think we will see a retracement to either 1995 or if the ATR pulls up to the ATR. This actually went up to 2024, comes back to the ATR. You can see that there is virtually no selling in that whatsoever. Goes back up and takes out 2025. You do get another entry here. Then it comes down. Look at the volume divergence between these two types here. And again, this is where price is going one way. You've got price going up and volume decreasing, okay? That told me that price was going to go down, came down to the congestion dots that were formed back here, and then gives you divergence. That gives you another entry back to the ATR. Now, right here in this area, you might have had a negative trade because there's no buying volume in that. And if you had set your stop right off of that ATR, you would have had a loss. It would have been minimal. I am talking almost non-existent on a 45-minute chart. Why? Okay? Because I always enter right at the ATR. So to me, the perfect entry was the one that closed up at the ATR. Okay? That to me was your perfect entry. Okay? If you did get stopped out there, then you went through, this was just sort of a sideways movement. Then it starts up. There was no entry into this uptrend. It comes back here. There's no divergence there. On this one, you do have divergence because the buyer stepped in on that bar. You can see that only with the delta. I just think the risk was too high on this. This is one that I personally would have taken as a binary because the risk was too high on the future side. Then it continues up, then it flips the ATR, goes back to test the ATR, does it on diverging volume. That was your entry to the downside. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, there we go. Okay, on the Dow, I'm expecting a test of 17,500 area on the Dow. Again, I think a retracement to find support will occur first to around 17,300. So this is the little diamond shape. It actually came down to about 17,350. Then it tested the ATR here, went back up, took out the 17,500 area. As you can see, in this pattern held all week long. You see the divergence there. It comes down to this double zone area here. Gives you a perfect divergence to the upside, up to the ATR. Then it kind of flounders until the next morning. Comes back to retest this one right here. Now, on the retest, I really don't see that you had an entry. I don't see that you had an entry again until this bar when you see that the buyer stepped in on that bar. Again, that would have been too much risk for me. I can look at that bar and tell you that was too much risk. If you look over here, you can tell that it came down to 17,400 and the close was up here, so that tells me there was about 75 points of risk on that trade. I ain't stupid. I'm not risking 75 points, okay? That's one I would take in the binaries, okay? And I'll show you one I did Friday because of this, okay? All right, then on Friday it comes down, tests this, okay? And you had a slight divergence here. You did have divergence on the delta. I actually took that in the binaries because I wasn't feeling good and didn't want to sit with the trade all day. Took it in the binaries, was in it for about an hour, and I'll show that to you afterwards. And then after that, it just went down. Any questions on the Dow? Now remember, this was, last weekend that we could tell pretty much where price was going just by using the ATRs in the congestion dots, in the congestion. Okay, on the Nasdaq, I'm expecting a retest of 4180 this week. I believe it needs to test for support around 4120 or the ATR at 4087, okay? Again, volume in these areas are critical, okay? So if you didn't know where to read the volume, I just told you where to read it, okay? So this is my little diamond. That's what the price chart looked like when I analyzed the chart. I thought it would come back to 4120. It came right back to this first red line here, then goes up, comes back to the ATR, and then continues up. What happens is it continues up. Again, you've got decreased volume, okay? You come back down to right below the 4120 area, gives you a nice little divergence there, comes up to the congestion dots, Gives you a nice divergence there. You don't have any entry here. Again, the risk was a factor here. You do have an entry here. You probably were stopped out on this one. That was the ECB announcement. And then she goes up to the ATR. There's not a volume divergence here, not the kind that we're talking about. Comes back down to the congestion dots and then back up. At the congestion dots, she had divergence. Again, this is playing out over and over and over. And we can actually see it over the weekend. That's what, I love about this stuff. All right, on crude. What happened on crude last week? Now, this was the issue on crude last week. I thought it was going to test the $50 area. It only got to 49, so I was about $1 off on that one. This is the little diamond here. You can barely see it, but it's there. It's right here. It comes down, bounces back to test the ATR, does it on diverging volume, okay? Then it goes down, comes back to this congestion dot, which I haven't marked yet, okay? Again, there is no diverging volume there, okay? I would not have taken that trade. There's no divergence here on that one. Would not have taken that trade. We did have some divergence in here. You can tell there was just no interest by the buyers. You would have made a little bit on that, and then it comes back up, kind of floats around. Here you have some divergence. It does go up and test the $49 area, does it on diverging volume, comes back down to the $46 area. As it comes back to the $46 area, you see a very strong divergence there. That pushes it back up to the congestion dot. You have a perfect divergence at the congestion dot right here. And you could have either done a binary on that if you were up, or you could have went into the futures if the risk was not greater than 40 or 50 cents. I'm not going to do a lot on crude 45 minute. Do y'all understand that one? Any questions so far? Because this week we're pretty much going to do the same thing, believe it or not. All right, on gold. I would only consider longs until we either get a magenta peak on a higher time frame, where it will go back to the ATR, or the ATR on the 45 minute is reversed, and that means it flips from blue to red. Just a reminder, we saw in crude last week, it will flip the ATR and then retest it, and sometimes this happens multiple times before the market will change directions. We also had a preview of this on gold as it was turning to the upside. There is overhead resistance on the daily between 1285 and 1290. So watch those areas. Again, here is your diamond, okay? And as it comes back to this ATR, you do get volume divergence. Your volume is declining on the seller side. Then it comes down, barely flips the ATR here, forms a line of congestion dots, goes back up, makes new highs. You have volume divergence here. This is another volume divergence that we're not going to talk about today. Then you have volume divergence here. Then you have volume divergence here. Comes back to test this ATR over here. No buyers involved. It goes down off of that, forms a congestion dot here, breaks it, comes right back down, comes here, testing the ATR again. This one does not give you the standard volume divergence. Now, what is interesting is that this one right now is giving you divergence to the downside again, and we're fixing to look at that one. So, what do we have coming up for this week? This week, today we had the Greek election, and the opposing party did win. They're going to try to back out of the austerity measures. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Monday, we have a 4 a.m. German info business climate at 4 o'clock. 7:30, we have Aussie NAB business confidence. Tuesday, we have a 4:30 British pound report. 8:30 core durable goods on the U.S. side. 10 o'clock, we have CB consumer confidence and new home sales. And then at 7:30 that night, we have another report on the Aussie. On Wednesday, we do have Fed announcement, and they're going to see if they're going to start raising the rates. I don't know that they will. They're anticipating that they probably will. Thursday, we have the German preliminary CPI. 8:30, we have unemployment. Now, unemployment has not been moving the markets very much, okay? So we're not going to, it moves gold typically, but the others, it really hasn't moved that much lately. 7:30 Thursday night, we have the PPI, and on Friday, we have a 5 o'clock a.m. Euro CPI, and then at 8:30, we have both a Canadian and a USD market report. The big one this week will be Thursday, and that will be the, Wednesday, and that's the Fed's fund rate. And I'm going to actually be looking at the volume on a higher time frame. Typically, it is really good for noticing what is going to happen at the federal fund rate. Now, today we're going to go not only through the indices future, but also the currency futures. Right now on the British pound, you can see that it is pulling back to this ATR. And so far, it has done it on diverging volume. Now, this is what I want to point out, because it's great to look at things in hindsight. But this is the live edge. The market hasn't opened, okay? So right now, you have a price of about 49.81. You have diverging volume, okay? I could handle this one of two ways. I could go into the binary option on this today when the market opens, or I could wait and go in the futures market, okay? Either way, at 49.81, I'm not going to risk that much. I mean, right now, if price opens right at 49.81, I'm going to risk 5 ticks on a 45-minute chart. Do y'all understand? Now, if it gaps, let's say that it opens up here at 49.90, okay? I'm probably going to wait because more than likely the gap will be filled, and I will wait and let the gap fill. Do y'all understand that? All right, let's go to the next one, the Canadian. Now, here's the Canadian, and these are the important notes over here that, I really take into consideration. The 720-minute chart ADX is at 69, okay? That means it is oversold, okay? If it's oversold, what's going to happen, okay? It's going to go up. There's also volume divergence already been registering on both the 720-minute and the 1440-minute, okay? So that tells me that this potentially will go up, okay? Does that mean I'm just going to jump into it in a long position? No. I will not. It will flip this ATR about like it did here. It will flip the ATR, come back to test the ATR, has to do it on diverging volume. In that case, then I would go into it. I could go in both a binary and I could go into the futures position. Okay? All right. What about the Aussie? Okay, again, important note. The Aussie 180-minute is at 78. Okay, that tells me, again, this is oversold. Okay, I would be expecting a retracement, and I would just about bet the ATR would be somewhere around these ranges. Okay, that would be a nice move to the upside. These 180, 720, the 1440s, okay, those are huge retracements. I mean, really major retracements. Okay? Again, since this is on the 180-minute chart, I would know, hey, drop down to a 12-minute and see if you can time that retracement. Okay? That's the rules. And I follow my rules. All right, here's the Swiss franc. Oh, it's a doozy. You've got a 1440 magenta peak. The ATR is 10506. I think that's a typo because it's at 506. I think it is. That would be. I'll tell you what. Let me go over here a minute and look on the Aussie. No, it's on the Swiss franc. That does not look right. 0506. Yeah, it is. That's right. That's why it's coming down. And I don't have enough room to show you there. But this is the area that will be retracing back on the 720-minute chart. Okay? So I know that this price bar is at least going to reach this level. Then, more likely than not, you're going to get a retracement and then it's going to come down. Now, this value here may actually change because, of course, it moves with price. But as it stands right now, we could see a really large retracement. I would also be watching the volume as it tests this area. Do y'all see that? Because it will make a double bottom. Any questions on that one, guys? Until I see otherwise, I am only going short on this thing. Okay, this is on the euro. Now, the euro, again, the FDAX is at 78. You have not had a magenta peak, but you are registering divergence on both the 1440 and the 720. Okay, so normally before the market starts to retrace, you get the divergence. Okay, and then the magenta peak comes in. So this is one I'm actually going to be watching tonight and tomorrow. It may take until Tuesday, but it will be coming in. Oop, missed one. Okay, this is the Japanese yen. Okay, now, Japanese yen on the higher time frames is really nothing to notate. But here, you see that you've been going up, 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 up. Okay? Initially, the volume was going up, but do you see how sellers started stepping in here? That would worry me, okay? I would at least expect a retracement either to this level or to this level, either one of them, and I'm going to start analyzing the volume. Okay, other than that, I just think it's going to go up. I do think if it does come back to here and we still get diverging volume, I think it will go and test probably this high, which is kind of coinciding with this high. Okay? Let's go look at the ES. Now, the ES, so far, it's made these higher highs, and it's done it on diverging volume. The volume on the lows, okay, it's gaining in strength. There's only one issue. That last low right here, you see that there's strong divergence. That tells me that tonight and tomorrow we could see a retracement back up to the ATR. Okay? So I'm expecting this to at least go back and test 2057. Now, depending on how slow the market is, it could actually come down to about 2055. Either one of it. Okay? Now, let's go to the next one. On the Dow, pretty much the same issue. You can see that as it was making these highs here, volume was decreasing. It's a good sign that the market's going to fall. Okay? Now, it's at this area right here. There's a congestion line there, and you've had a very strong volume divergence there. I would be anticipating it to come back and test at least these two areas, okay? If it does not manage to flip that, it's going to continue down. And it doesn't look like it's going to be able to flip it at this point. Nasdaq is slightly different, okay? You're still making higher highs, but the volume is lower here and it's lower from over here, okay? And volume here is increasing on this last little bar right here. You had a diverging volume situation, okay? So that means we might bounce up a little bit and then it may test this again, okay? But I would be looking to see if it is able to flip this ATR, because on the approach, it looks like it's going to flip that ATR, okay? Any questions on that one? You also see, do you see how it's run into this level of zones here? That tells me, hey, there's some resistance up there, okay? So they're going to have to really increase the buy-in efforts in order to get through all of this area right here. I'm not seeing enough volume there to do it. Okay, on the DAX, I do believe we're going to come back to this area right here, and that's where I will analyze the volume. Unless they flip the ATR from blue to red, or unless the ADX gets higher on the higher time frames, I'm looking at only longs on the DAX. You know, I don't see anything right now that tells me I'm going to be taking a short position. Okay? Things could change, especially based on what I'm seeing on the U.S. indices. It looks like we're going to have downward movement. I'm just not seeing it right now on the DAX. Now, on gold's going to be the one this week, I think, personally. Okay? You've got a 720-minute magenta peak. That ATR is at 1271.8. Now, this is what I call a sweet spot. You see this? There's nothing there. other words, if it breaks these two lines and the volume is clearly indicating that it potentially will, there's nothing. That's $20. Notice that. $12.90 to almost $12.70. That is a $20 range. Okay? That's a lot of money on gold. This is your sweet spot. Okay? This is the one that I would be doing a weekly binary at. Okay? The 1440 also has a magenta peak. And the ATR right now is about here. So not only do you have this sweet spot, but if it breaks here, you got another sweet spot. Okay? Because there's nothing in the way right now of either of these sweet spots. Do y'all see that? Can you hear me now, George? It's probably my voice going in and out. I've been sick since Friday, and I'm pretty much yelling at the moment, trying to get everybody. Okay. So to me, gold, I'm going to be watching gold like white on rice this week, just because it's got huge potential this week. Yeah, you don't worry about the meandering if you're doing the binaries. And on the binaries, when you're getting 720-minute magenta peaks and 1440s, if this is happening on Mondays and Tuesdays, you can pretty much go out on that weekly binary. Okay? Let's clear that one. And I think crude's the next one. Okay, where was crude? Did I not do it? All right, let's look at crude. Nothing really oversold there. So I'll just bring the crude chart over. Here we go. All right, here's your crude chart. Okay. So right now, the only thing I'm seeing is down unless this ATR flips or we have a magenta peak. And I'll put that on there for you, because it's probably going to come in on the 45-minute. So unless you get a magenta peak here, then you would trade your 3-minute. It would go back to the ATR. In that case, this ATR is going to come down to about 46.17. They're going to collide is what's going to happen if you get that magenta peak, and you're probably going to get a magenta peak. So in that case, I would be able to take a long on the way up to the ATR, and then it would be short unless something changes. All right. Now, I told you I was going to show you one that I did on the Dow. And this was on Friday, and I told you I was not feeling well on Friday. And I saw the Dow come down to the congestion dot, and I was watching it. And you see that you had the volume divergence here. I said, okay, we've got volume divergence. So the logical place for this to go back up is back to this ATR, right? And we had divergence saying this is exactly what was going to happen. So I went out of the money. I went out of the money at 17,706 is where I bought the binary. The cost of the binary was $34. I sold the binary for $91.50. Okay? My profit per contract after commission was $55.70. and I did not have to sit with the trade. I was very comfortable risking $34 per contract. Okay? Now, I could not have done that on the future side because that was, you would need to come in under that, okay? So it was going to be almost 50 points, okay? I didn't want to risk 50 points, especially because I wasn't feeling good, okay? So I just went into binaries. And I didn't care whether I was sitting there or not. It didn't matter to me, okay? Because I knew what my risk was paid. It all up front. You don't have to think about it anymore. Do y'all understand that? Now, on these charts for this week, the only thing that I will have to do is if we get another congestion dot, and we usually get at least one. Oop, I deleted that one, didn't mean to. All I do is snap a line on it, okay? That's all I do. This is not hard by any stretch of the imagination. Reading the volume is harder than anything, okay? But let's say that this goes back up, it flips this ATR, and I get a new congestion dot this week, then I'll mark it on my chart. That's all I do, okay? Other than that, I do use both NinjaTrader and multi-charts, and I'll show you why. As most of you know, I can't run all of my time frames in NinjaTrader yet because they need to update their platform. So what I do is use this one, okay? And this allows me to scan all of my time frames, okay? It tells me if I have divergence. You see it on gold, and then you have the magenta peak come in. You're seeing it on crude, which is what I told you. You're going to get a magenta peak on the 45-minute. You've got divergence there, and it's 99 ticks back to the ATR. Okay, the Nasdaq 720 has got divergence on it. You've got 521 ticks back there. This is not overbought at the moment, okay? I think it will be, and I think it's setting up for a short. Not there yet, okay? The Dow, 12-minute, you got volume divergence. There's your magenta peak coming in. 45-minute, there's your divergence. This magenta peak, more likely than not, will come in. Same thing on the S&P 500. 12 and 45, you're getting that long divergence there. That's telling me that, hey, we're going to have some reversals coming in there, okay? This is why I'm anticipating, okay, it's going to go up to a ATR. Do y'all understand that? Then over on the scanner on the future side for currencies, notice on the Canadian, you've got divergence. You've got 69 and 60. The 69 is the one that tells me we're fixing to get a retracement. How far is that retracement? 220 ticks. On the euro, getting divergence. This one on the 1440, this is the one that I'm looking at, okay? 597 ticks. Okay? Will that decrease? Of course it will. But I'm going to tell you something. If you can even get 10% of that, that's a nice little profit, ain't it? And if you're using our tools, you can get at least 10%. You know, look at, again, the Swiss franc is at 81. Okay? 900 ticks, people. 900 ticks. I can take some of that now. If I have to do it in the binaries, I'll do it. But I will get a portion of that money. Do y'all understand that? Remember what I told you about the sweet spot? What is this? Sweet spot. It doesn't even matter to me if I get it all, okay? But that's right at about 100 ticks or 100 pips, okay? I can take a portion of that and I'll be happy. I'm not greedy. So does everybody understand what I think the markets will do this week? Any questions? Man, we need more of these on Sundays. Y'all nice and quiet. Stuart, I'll have to do yours tomorrow. I can't do them today, hon. I don't know a time yet. I'll have to email you. Well, I always do out of the money binaries, always, because that's your cheap trading. Yeah, I do the binaries that are going to give me, 1-to-2, 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. Yeah, the main thing I think I think everybody's getting used to is the fact that there is one link now. It doesn't change like it does with GoToMeeting. We have one link forever and always. And as soon as I finish this, it renders the video and I can post it. It doesn't take 4 hours of my time to get this posted. So it's really kind of cool. Yeah, that tells me that you probably don't have the right build number. Update your build to the latest 9.1 version. I don't recommend 9.5, only 9.1. Whatever the latest build number is, that's the one you want. Yeah, I'm going to post it. Yeah, I think it sets the tone for the week. And, again, if you go back and you look, and this is what, most traders, I think, fail to see. And this is why I wanted to go and show it, okay? That line was already there. That line was already there. So, for example, on crude, do you see how all of the lines were already on the chart? And it played those lines all week. Oh, Trade Station 9.5 don't work. I love the way I said that. I don't like it. I don't think it's there yet. Is that Stuart? Okay. Stuart, I'm going to have to look at yours because I don't know what it is. I might have to do you a new file. Yeah, on crude Friday, I knew when I saw that right there, that was it. It was a downhill battle from there. Can everybody hear me now? Can everybody hear me? maybe. Yeah. Okay. Go to viewer 14, highlight viewer 14, Stuart, and just change it to Stuart. They are going to change that where, your name is required, but I don't really care. You can come in anonymous. I don't care. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's going to end the session today because I do want to get it posted. Some people were not able to join the room, and I want to make sure that they're able to join the room or see the video from the session before the market opens. So, hold on just a moment. And this is for, my clients that have all of this set up. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay. So give me just a minute. I got to drag this over. Let's see. Let's share screen. Okay. Do y'all see? Oh, no. This one. Which screen are y'all seeing? Is it black or does it have NinjaTrader on it? Okay, give me just a minute. Let me show you. Because this is my weekly overview. Share screen. All right, now you're seeing the right one. Oop. Now, do you see how I have them all here? Now, I only have the volume on the ones that I need to analyze immediately. For example, the ES, I know I'm getting volume divergence there. Over here, I know I'm getting volume divergence, and I'm going to have to analyze it when it comes back to test this line. Again, you're getting volume divergence over here already. Getting volume divergence on gold, and I'm expecting it to go down. So this gives me, hey, this is my weekly overview. I can see everything. I can see all my lines. This is the one I post my lines on. If I bring up a new chart, it comes up. So it's just giving y'all ideas on how to keep yourself focused and go through the markets for the upcoming week. Okay, any questions? Yeah, I'm glad you suggested it too. I kind of like doing it because this is my, routine every Sunday. So, all right. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you Tuesday in the live trading room. Okay?